Welcome back, everybody, to His Heartbeat. Great to be with everybody once again. I have a really sweet, wonderful guest, Lisa Espinoza. I'm assuming I said that right.
You sure did. You
Oh,
sure
good.
did.
Sometimes I forget to check. But it's great to have you here, Lisa. And Lisa is an author, and she's written about her own journey with pain and grief and hope. And so, Lisa, if you can start out, just introduce yourself, where you live, a little bit about your family.
Sure. I'm Lisa Espinoza, and you absolutely said it right. From Southern California, originally from Texas. That thus the accent. This is not a California accent. Been out of Texas all of my adult life, but I guess you can take the girl out of Texas, but you can't take Texas out of the girl. Been married almost 43 years, and we'll talk about this, but four kids and grandma or Mimi to two. It's the best thing ever. I'm obsessed with them and have two crazy dogs. We're expecting an Instapot to be delivered because our old one died. And so I hope that it doesn't get delivered during our talk because my dogs are going to go crazy. I have a
We'll go
golden
crazy. So, all
dog.
right, we'll just push the pause button. We all understand that. Yeah, and tell us the name of your book.
So, interestingly, a few years ago, quite a few years ago, I wrote a book called Days of Wine and Noses, Pep Talks for Tuckered Out Moms. And in that book, it was just all aimed at encouraging young moms that the thing you're doing every day with wiping noses and bottoms is the most significant thing that you can do with your time today. And stories about my little guy, Chandler. Little would I have ever imagined that years later, I would write another book called First Brush Your Teeth, Grief and Hope in Real Time. The story of losing Chandler, no longer
Mm.
my little guy, but my big son I love dearly. And that's just kind of how life goes. You don't know what's going to come. And I don't know how I would have done it without the reality that God is with me.
Mm. So you said he was 25, you had told me, and
Yeah.
this was in 2019. So was that a sudden thing or a gradual or?
It was sudden. My son was a lover of all things gravity defying. He was a body surfer, hiker, like on the tallest peaks he could find. He was a dancer. He was a golfer. He just loved movement and loved life and loved people and loved nature. And it was not unusual for me to get a call from somewhere or other saying, "Oh, Chandler is at the emergency room. He'll be okay, but he bruised a rib, or he's going to need stitches." Or, I mean, at 2 or 3 years old, he fell out of the toy box and broke his collarbone.
Oh.
So, foretelling of things to come. So, I didn't really think much when I would get a call. I mean, once I got a call from the emergency room that he had picked up a little baby rattlesnake and it bit him. Thankfully, those little
Oh
baby
my
rattlesnakes
goodness.
sometimes give out a lot of poison, sometimes they give none. He got none. So,
Wow.
it was just always something. So when I got a call on December 15th, 2018, saying, "Is this Chandler Espinoza's mom?" Yes. He's at the emergency room at the hospital. Can you get here? And my first thought was, Chandler, what now?
Mhm.
And I said, is he going to be okay? And they said, you need to get here. Well, that had never happened before.
Mm.
So what played out for the next 18 days was seeing my son completely devoid of any of the things that you would know about your child. Like he didn't know anyone, anything. He was paralyzed from the chest down because there had been a break in his spine. He was hit by a car on his way to work. He rode his bike He rode the beloved BMX bike that he used to do flips and crazy things all the time. So he was riding that bike to work and was hit by a car as he went to cross the street. So for 18 days, we hoped and we prayed and we cried and we made plans. We're going to retrofit the downstairs into like a bedroom and the bathroom so that he can have, for his wheelchair, we'll put a ramp in. And we're certain that at some point someday we're going to get a call saying, Chandler broke his wheelchair because he tried to jump off of a whatever, whatever. Yeah, I mean, we just knew he's still going to be Chandler. He'll just be in a wheelchair and we'll deal with
Mm,
this.
okay.
But it was beyond a, a spinal injury.
Mm,
He had diffuse axonal injury, which is a shearing of all of the neurons, the nerves in the brain all over. It wasn't
oh,
focused, it
wow.
wasn't in one spot. It was all over, including the brainstem. And so it was a severe traumatic brain injury. And that's, what ultimately his life was ended from a severe traumatic brain injury.
Mm,
So we never got to speak to him after that injury in a way that we know that he hurt us. It was 18 days of a roller coaster,
mm.
maybe,
So
maybe,
sorry.
maybe, and then yeah, that was not a meaningful reflex. That was just an involuntary reflex.
Mm,
So yeah, I say we lived a lot of lives in 18 days.
yeah, wow. So, yeah, tell us your journey in that. As I mentioned before the show started, y'all, I talked about how in Crown of Beauty, we really try to help people recognize lies that they're walking in and the truths that God has to say. And, you know, I'm sure in your situation, even though there's some negative thoughts, they're not necessarily lies. It's just truth. It's just truth. He's gone and it hurts and it's terrible. That's not a lie. But when there are some subtleties come in, which I won't guess what they are, you can share them, they're actually more destructive than helpful. But God knows, and sometimes we just have to sit in those and we have to go through it. It's not bad, bad girl that you had that thought. That God understands.
Absolutely.
But
Absolutely.
eventually we have to move past it or beyond it. So, how would you say that journey's been for you?
I would say if I have to identify an untruth that I think exists and I think we when we're going through something where it's a profound loss, we hold on to it because it seems right, and that is it is impossible to feel joy after or even in the midst of a profound loss. It feels true. It feels true. With every fiber of your being, that feels like, yeah, yeah, that resonates. That there's, I will not be a joyful person. I will not have moments of joy. That died with my loved one.
So,
It feels
like,
true.
ever again is the
Never
never.
again. Never
Mm,
again. And what I've found for myself and what I've seen in so many others, even moms, I've gotten to know amazing moms who've lost their kids. And what we have found is it is possible to have joy, to have moments of joy, even in the middle of and through the most profound loss. The most important thing you have to do is say, I can't see it happening. I don't even believe that it can happen, but I'll be open to the possibility. I'll be
mm,
open to the possibility. I won't close myself off to the idea of even a moment of joy. Because I think what we tend to do is say, if I have joy, I'm like betraying my loved one. I should just be sad. I should
mhm,
just be heavy-hearted
mhm.
if I move forward with joy, that's like saying, wait, I don't miss you anymore. And that's not true. That is a lie. That is a lie. The best way to honor the one that we've lost is to lean into our own life. To say, you know what, as a way to honor Chandler, who I knew wanted to be a writer. I found that out after his accident. A,
Mm,
a writer, a very accomplished writer, said to me, hey, Chandler told me he wanted to be a writer in the last year or so, and we've been talking about it.
uh,
And to know he wanted to be a writer, I said, okay, every single day I'm going to write and I'm going to process my grief and I'm going to share what this journey is for others. And maybe they can be helped by it as they
mm,
see, okay, this is how life was for her after 2 months or 6 months. And look, she she had moments of joy even early on. Maybe that's possible for me. I did that. I wrote every day because I was like, that will honor Chandler. That will honor his life. It will honor his goal, his desire to be a writer. I can honor him like that. So we find ways to move forward with our life as a tribute, as a
mhm,
tangible way to honor the loved one that we've lost. It doesn't betray them. It holds them close every day when you find ways to say, "Oh man, he would love that. Let's go have Thai food. He would love Thai food. Let's go have Thai food." Whatever it is that you can move forward with,
mm.
it brings your loved one with you, not stuck in one single moment of loss in the past, although you will carry that with you. But that's the key. Carry it with you. Let your loved one move forward in life with you.
So some people will, if that person was involved in like a nonprofit or giving to one, then they'll take that on. Or if they died of a certain kind of cancer, then they'll start a foundation to help with that.
Yes.
So
Yes.
you're saying that that is a way to kind of help them feel like they're still with you in a
Yes.
way. Is that right?
I mean, my friend Monica lost her little boy Jojo. She has a Live Like Jojo Foundation and other um, branches of what they do with Live Like JoJo. They do meaningful work and it honors JoJo. My friend Tracy, her son died and he was a type 1 diabetic. He died of some complications and she has a foundation where she provides therapy dogs or they're the dogs that sense when your blood sugar is going off.
Mm,
She helps provide dogs for people with type 1 diabetes. I have another friend, Josette, whose little guy Bradley was hit by a car and died a few years ago. And she has the Be Like Bradley or the Bradley Rofer Foundation where they do meaningful work. I mean, those are just, I have another friend I mean, I could just keep naming friends
yeah,
that I wish we weren't in this club together. I wish we weren't,
right. Of course. Yeah.
but they're doing meaningful work. And so, but it doesn't have to be a foundation. It doesn't have to be a
No.
book that you write. It can just be, I'm going to approach my life in a way that honors my loved one. Maybe it's just with more intentional kindness. Maybe it's more intentional generosity. Maybe it's, you know what? I want to be healthy. I want to get myself healthy as a way to honor my loved one. You get to decide that. Nobody makes that up for you. You
Hmm.
get to decide, how do I want to honor my loved one and bring him or her forward in my life with me? You get to decide that.
Hmm. Yeah, it's good. Yeah, one of the things I see, because a good friend of mine, she lost her brother, and the parents were grieving so severely that they never helped her deal with her grief. They got help. They never got her help. And she was the one in the car with him and saw him die. Um, and we've talked about that. I mean, it obviously shattered their family and it changed everything, which is really hard. And the relational the relations that were going on, the relationships that were going on. Uh, but yeah, how would you speak into that? Because I know like you're in such deep grief as a mom, but
Yeah.
yet you had three other kids and a husband. So how did you guys deal with that?
I I'm grateful because we kind of, I think, unless I have a blind spot, and if I do, it's a blind spot, so I don't know. But I think that we all gave each other our ways to process and together and separately. My son writes songs. I wrote this book. Like, um, we kind of all have our own ways that we dealt with it. But when we come together, we are quick to say his name. We were quick to say his name. We were telling Chandler stories. We were, we weren't, I think that's one of the ways that shuts down grief in families is when you say,
Mm,
well, we don't talk about it, it won't be as bad. Well, that's just not true. That's
mm,
totally a lie.
mm,
Like if somebody says, well, I don't know, is it okay to talk about? 100% yes. I would
mm,
always rather say Chandler's name than not say Chandler's name in any conversation. And my kids feel the same. So, and my
mm,
husband. So I'm very grateful that we just kind of all gave each other that space to
mm.
figure it out. Like my daughter processes differently than I do. I'm kind of open book and out there, and she's not. And I honor that about her, and she honors my way, you know. I mean, you know, I feel like there are as many different shapes and sizes and colors of grief within a family as there are people in families. And so I don't think there's a prescription, but I would say in a family where especially the parents are just paralyzed with grief, as much as it hurts, sit down together and just say, let's tell some stories. Let's just let's say his or her name and just talk about some memories. Somehow let the conversation be open. When it's closed, nobody has the freedom to cry or scream or remember or anything. The
Mm.
conversation is just closed and everybody knows it. It's just an understood thing, even if nobody says we're not talking about it. So I would say as paralyzed as grief can make you, render you, open the conversation. You never know what your other kids, your spouse, what may be on their heart that needs to be said, or that they just want to sit there wordless in this group of people that says, we're just missing them a lot.
Mhm. Do you
And,
find as you help people that you're helping several of them wrestle with the if only?
you know, yes, people want, if I had just done this or that, and I haven't, if only. But I refused early on to let it take root because you can't. It will make you crazy for the rest of your life if you try to wrestle with an if only because you can't. I mean,
Mhm.
you cannot write the way things go down. You can't, like in a book, I could write, this is, I'm going to do chapter one and chapter two and three and four. This is how it's going to lay it. You know, that's not how life goes. So your if
Mhm.
only, you can't have prescribed that. My if only was Chandler was headed downstairs. I didn't know it was Chandler. I was sitting in my bedroom. We were planning as a family to go look at Christmas lights that night. And I wasn't sure because my kids are Chase, Chance, Chandler, Charlie, and my husband is Chip. So you can imagine when one of them would get in trouble. It was like, hey, whichever one you are, you know you. So one of my kids I heard going down the hall, and I didn't know which one it was. So I said, "Hey, whichever one you are, we're going to see Christmas lights tonight. Can you go?" And it was Chandler. Chandler said, "Mama, I got to get to work. I work tonight, or I got to get to work. I'm late or something." And so he was running down the stairs. I said, "I love you, honey." He goes, "I love you, Mom." And that could have been my if only. If only I had said, "Oh, if you're in a hurry, honey, I'll just drive you to work. Oh, don't worry, don't be in a hurry. I'll just hop in the car and take you."
Mhm.
And I just said, "No, no, I will not go there. I will not go there." I could have hopped in the car, taken him to work, and been hit by another car. You cannot go back to your if only and know that that would have been the thing that changed it forever.
Yeah. Yeah. So, what was some of the processing or wrestling with God and the help from God? All of those, I'm sure a lot was going on.
I mean, it's I guess odd, but I don't feel like I ever wrestled with God. I just knew God was with me,
Mhm.
and if that weren't the case, I don't know. I don't know how I would have moved forward an inch. I don't know. I knew that God was with me. This happened near Christmas, and the piece of theology that meant the most to me, really the only theology that meant anything to me at that moment, was Immanuel. God is with me. That was my hope, my strength, my security, my anchor. It was everything. When I say it was everything, I mean it was everything. And Emmanuel, God with me, was my friend calling to say, "Can I bring you a juice and just sit with you?" Yes, God is with me. It was, uh, you know, people dropping food by for weeks and weeks. Emmanuel, God is with me. It was text messages from one friend who said, "I'm going to text you every day. You don't have to text me back, but I'm going to text you every day for a long time, just to let you know I'm thinking of you and praying for you." Emmanuel, God is with me. God shows up through people. And so that's we get to do that too. So we all at some point are going to be on the receiving end of God with skin on, Jesus with skin on, people coming alongside us and being that Emmanuel, God with us. And we get to do that. We get to be Jesus with skin on to other people. You never know. In one moment of a day when you text someone and say, "I just want you to know I know you're hurting because you've lost your mom, you've lost your son, you've lost your sister. I want you to know I am sending you a huge hug and I love you." That may be that thing in that day where that acknowledgement, that light bulb comes on and they say, "God is with me." I needed that. And even if that light bulb doesn't come on, that is maybe for that day, that the thing. Okay, okay. Someone's thinking of me. Someone cares about me. I'm going to keep moving forward.
So, was everybody in your family able to do that right away? Or did some go through
Yeah, they,
more rough
yeah,
emotions?
yes. Yeah, there were some rough emotions. There was some anger because of how it happened. I will say the probably the biggest point of anger had to do with something that's for a whole different day, a different discussion, a different podcast, with Chandler's last day, which I wrote about on my blog, which is on my website. I wrote about a year ago. Um, it was on Chandler's last day, and there were some things that happened that were unconscionable. And I would say that is more where the anger lies. I know that sounds so cryptic, but it's a whole can of worms. It's a whole can of
Okay.
worms. Yeah, so
So,
there was some anger, um, and dealing with it again, to give them the ability and freedom to deal with it in the ways that they needed to deal with it, rather than, well, no, you shouldn't be angry, or um, you shouldn't think that. Well, okay, I shouldn't, but I do, so that's odd. So yeah, just they people need to have the freedom to grieve how they need to grieve. And emotions are not emotions are information. How you feel about something is information. It's not a right or a wrong, or it's just, okay, I'm noticing I'm really angry about that thing. What does that tell me? What do I need to do with that?
Yeah. And we're all so different in how we grieve and the circumstances of why we're grieving and who we're grieving about. And, the whole thing's very complex. But I find, each person I lose, significant person, I'm seeing patterns for sure that are unique to me, I guess. But I also see difference based on what my relationship was to that person and how much they were with me proximally. Did
Absolutely.
we see each other every day or do we hardly see each other? You know,
Absolutely.
all these things have a factor, but I think it's really easy to think how you dealt with it and then tell a person who's going through a similar situation how they should deal with it so they can feel better. And
Yep.
that's a no,
No.
right?
You need to feel what you need to feel when you need to feel it. Just feel it. Feel the thing when you need to feel it. If you are not a person who wants to just bare your soul and talk about it, that's totally fine. If you find that you're not processing, do find someone trusted. It could be a grief counselor, it could be a mental health counselor, it could be a trusted friend. But if you find that you're not processing, that it's all just getting stuff down, that's not good for your body or your soul
Yeah.
or your mind.
Or maybe you think you have, but um uh, you're like not sleeping at night or you're gaining 40 pounds or some kind of unhealthy thing going on in your body, then just be aware. Like if y'all are listening and you're like, yeah, I handled that really well and I've moved on. But if you look back since that time, has there been some kind of uh, behavioral, I won't even say response, but turns out it might be a response to that
Absolutely.
that grief, and that's a good warning or signal to get some kind of help or therapy or
Absolutely.
whatever. Yeah.
That is absolutely such a good point. There could be uh, markers, markers along the way that say, huh, maybe I thought I was doing really well with it, but I just flew off the handle in a disproportionate way about some silly little thing. I think probably I'm angry. I'm angry. And I need to probably look at that and feel that and maybe talk to somebody about that. Um, yeah, you're right. Grief is so complex and it is so tied in with who it was, whether you saw them a lot, didn't, or even if you didn't see them a lot, how much were they woven into the fabric of your identity? Um, my we lost a dog a few years after we lost Chandler,
Hmm.
and it was for my daughter just the most profound loss because that dog is with you. That dog held her tears when she lost her brother.
Hmm.
That dog snuggled up with her when she had a head injury and she was in bed. That like our pets are with us 24/7.
Yeah.
So I'm not equating it one thing to another, but
Right.
I'm saying how it's woven into your daily life, your identity, your time, your activities, everything. It's going to color the way that you grieve, and there's not a wrong about that. There's not a right or wrong about that. It just is.
Yeah. And there can be compounded loss.
Yep.
So I think my daughter, I think she's open to share about this, how she had a lot of pets growing up. She had a lot of loss in that. My brother died young, so she lost her uncle, and then one by one, grandparents. And so now, like, oh my goodness, like, yeah, she knows that if someone passes away, um, I know, like, I'll make sure and call her boyfriend to make sure he's around and, or someone's near her, or if I can be there, I can, but we don't live too close to each other, because I know when she hears this news, it's going to be really rough. So yeah, I think that's a factor. And also maybe in the beginning you deal with it a certain way that it doesn't look very traumatic, your response, but it could come out 5 years from now,
Yes.
especially if it's something like your kids where they're young
Yeah.
and they may not really, a lot of people deal with deep pain around the age 27, 28 for one reason or another. That's what we see. That's what I've seen, a pattern in that. So don't be surprised if all of a sudden, you know, the loss of a parent or a divorce or sibling or your best friend or whatever comes up 10 years later.
Yeah.
Mhm.
The compounded grief, you're absolutely right. And I saw that in my daughter when DeMarcus was the name of the dog, named after the Dallas Cowboy football player. This little weenie dog, when that dog passed, it was like, oh my daughter's heart was just literally broken. And it was that compounded, I
Mhm.
can't do more of this. I've
Yeah.
just lost my brother, and now I'm losing the dog that helped me get through the loss of my brother. Oh, and my heart just was broken in a million pieces. As yours, as a mom,
Mhm.
there's nothing worse than seeing your kid in pain, physical,
Right.
emotional. So the compounded grief is a thing. You carry the losses for the rest of your life. You'll have the loss. Um, and sometimes the dam breaks and it's okay. It's
Yeah.
okay. As long as people are around you that are supportive and saying this makes sense. Totally. Let's cry, scream, put your head in the pillow, whatever you need to do. There's not a prescribed right and wrong way to do it.
Yeah. I think being alert of patterns that can come out in our life from that, where maybe we're afraid to get close to somebody now, we're afraid to get married, we're afraid to have a best friend, uh we're afraid to go out at night. I don't know, it really can, and that might be something where therapy can really help you, some counseling, um
Really
to
good.
work through that trigger response.
Yeah, that's such a, yeah. I mean, once you've lost, you're like, I don't want to get close because I don't want to hurt like this again. You're right.
Mhm.
It's a, especially younger, because you're just forming all of this and your
Mhm.
worldview and how things go. Yeah, if this is how life is, I'd rather not get close to somebody and hurt like this again. So you're
Mhm. Mhm.
absolutely right.
So what should family members do? Like, we just lost my nephew, and you know, his mom is really struggling,
Yeah.
and and she's the one that lost my brother.
Yeah.
So, um, yeah, what would you suggest that we do in that situation?
Oh my goodness. Well, presence for one thing. Just let your presence be known. Just a, a, a compassionate, loving presence. That would mean the world. Like, don't be afraid to say, I know this has got to be a hard day. I'm just here. I'm just here. Can I bring you something? Can I bring you a juice? Can I bring you a meal? Just your presence speaks volumes. So they know they're not alone. And I'm sure that's the case already. For me, it was helpful to read book, and I'm not saying this because I have a book, but for me, it was helpful to read books. Like there
Mm,
were two or three. One was called Permission to Mourn. The I read so many books early on, and it helped me. It may not help
mm,
everybody, but for me, it was helpful to read about people who went through and for me specifically, the loss of a child, but I read others that were just general loss. It helped me to read others' experiences. It helped me to call a friend of mine who had lost her daughter years before and say, how hard was it on the first Mother's Day? Help me know what to expect.
Mm.
How hard was it on their birthday, the first one after their loss? Help me know what to expect. One of the wisest things my friend told me was, I've found that the anticipation of the day is worse than the day itself.
Okay.
That helped me. So for
Okay.
me, hearing from other people who've been down this road was tremendously helpful for me.
Okay. Yeah, that's really good. So the title of your book is First Brush Your Teeth.
Yeah.
I can pretty much guess why you said that, but can you share why you came up with that title?
In the beginning, when you are absolutely paralyzed with grief and you don't foresee how you're going to get up the next day and function, my mantra became just first brush your teeth. And if you brush your teeth, maybe then you'll make it to the closet and put on some clothes. And then maybe you'll have the energy to go downstairs and maybe get a cup of tea. Maybe you'll sit on the couch, maybe text a friend and figure out what the next good step would be in the day. But first, brush your teeth. And I've found myself over and over and over in a variety of circumstances going back to that mantra. This past December, as an example, December is just hard because the 15th was the anniversary of him being hit by a car, on to January 1st when he died. And you remember all the things that happened on those days. December's just hard. And I kept going back to first brush your teeth. Just first brush your teeth. Get out of bed and brush your teeth. That forward momentum, even that small step, I call it the sacredness of small steps. Just those small steps that move you forward just a little bit. First, brush your teeth. It's a mantra that can apply to any hard circumstance in your life where you just feel stuck, paralyzed. But brush your teeth, that's something that you just have to do. It's a small step, and maybe it will take you to the next small step.
Yeah, so you lost your boy during Christmas season,
Mm.
which what a horrible time to go through that.
Yeah.
My friend died on the same day that your son did, but
Oh,
obviously this year. And yeah, so it's just so sad because she was like the Christmas queen. I mean,
oh,
she's what made Christmas for everybody, you know. So I don't know what, would happen with that, but I'm just wondering, like, that's just rough, right? Because that's a time where everybody's singing joyful, joyful, we adore,
yep.
and these are the happy time, all these
Yeah, it's the
things.
most wonderful time of the year.
Yeah, so how do you deal with that? And you're the mom, so moms are the ones usually that kind of carry Christmas and make it special for everyone. So obviously, the first year we can guess. You just said he didn't even die till the first, so that was a wash. But how about the years after that? The second, third, fourth, fifth, and into.
Well, I will say, even while he was in the hospital, our family always, goes and looks at Christmas lights together. We do something and
Hmm.
together. And
Hmm.
so one night while he was in the hospital, we just went to a place. I can't remember if well, there's two different places we go to, but we went to a place and just looked at lights together. And it was like trudging through mud to do
Hmm.
it, but it felt like it was something that we needed to do together.
Hmm.
Some little piece of something normal in what was absolutely not normal. The
Hmm.
next year, we I won't say we 100% all decided the same, but we ended up going to Santa Fe. My husband's family's from Santa Fe or New Mexico, and we just said we don't want to be here at at Christmas and remember all of the stuff.
Okay.
So we put ourselves in a different geographic location, went to
Mm,
and it was Santa Fe's gorgeous at
mm,
Christmas, and the
mm.
food is it was you know it was nice.
Okay.
But and we what we discovered was you can change the geography, but you're still going to be missing Chandler like crazy. So then we went back to our normal Christmas the next year at home. And then one of the Thanksgivings, I think the second Thanksgiving, we went to a local hotel in near the beach or the ocean and just kind of went there for Thanksgiving. Just trying to switch it up because you don't know how it's going to go. You
Mm,
anticipate and are we going to make it? How's this going to go? And then you make it and you know, for us, I will say the anticipation, the fear, the anxiety leading up to that day, whatever it is typically is worse
mm.
than the day itself. I won't say always, but typically it's worse than the day itself because it's the unknown.
So how was this year for you guys? It's been 6 years.
It's just always hard. It's always hard, and we know we don't even have to say the words. We just we just know. It'll be the 15th, and one of us will text through the family thread, "I love you guys." You know, This is hard. I mean, it's this unspoken weight about December and this unspeakable joy that I get to watch my daughter living her life and she's got wonderful things happening and I've got these grandkids and I've got my other kids that are living their lives and there's such joy and then there's such heartache. It's just all intermingled. And if you try to extricate one from the other, you lose the humanity that's just life. If you wait for, oh, it's just all good now, you will never have a moment of joy. You just
Yeah.
won't. Because there's always going to be something that's
Mm,
weighty
mm,
or sad or that maybe there's a around the corner we don't know if there's going to be a job loss or we don't know. There's always something.
mm,
But underneath it all, if we're open to say it is possible to have joy, even a moment of joy,
mhm,
through the worst of losses, I'll be open to that. I'll just be open to it and then watch and see what happens.
mhm. Yeah, it's good. Well, we're running low on time, but tell us, you're writing blogs as well, right?
I'm not real good about it. The year that I wrote the book, I wrote every single day. Um,
Mm,
but but then once that year was over, and then I published the book, I'm not
mhm.
real good about writing my blog regularly.
Okay.
But I do blog. I do have a website, lisaespinoza.com. I'm on Instagram. I'm on Facebook, lisa.espinoza on Instagram. So I'm easy to get hold of. I'd love to talk with people. Send me a DM. I love to
Mhm.
interact with people. So yeah, I'm pretty easy to get hold of.
Okay. And does it help at all when you like read books about heaven or people talk about that?
Yeah.
Obviously, you shouldn't say it like right after it happens or something, but is that helpful?
Yes. One of the books that I loved was called, I think, Proof of Heaven. It was written by I think he was a neurosurgeon or a neurologist. Um, I loved it because it's almost like from his medical standpoint, he went through this thing where he literally died. I loved that. But I mean, it's helpful, but I just believe with every pore of my being, every fiber of my being, that I'm going to see Chandler again.
Right.
He may look different, and I will look different, and it will be different. I don't know how it's going to be, but I know that the essence of Chandler did
Hmm.
not disappear when his body quit breathing. I
Right. His
know that.
soul lived on. Yeah. Yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah. I've gotten a lot of help reading. I don't know if it's the same guy you're talking about, but Imagine Heaven
Okay.
by John Burke, and now he
Okay.
has Imagine the God of Heaven just came out by John Burke,
Okay.
and similar. He's a scientist, I think, and
I love
became a
that.
Christian and has amazing stories. And for me, it just helps because it gives me a little bit of a picture. It's very scriptural as well, but expounds on it, what the grass looks like up there, what the golden city looks like, what there's mountains, what the river streams like, and the
Yeah.
animals that people have seen. And it just helps me. I'm like, I can a little bit picture um what it's like for my mom and my brother and others who I've lost, my nephew and niece and two nephews. Yeah. So
I do
okay, well,
believe
go
the
ahead.
greatest reality
Mm-hmm.
is not what we right here touch and see. I don't think this is not the highest, greatest reality. This is a
Mm-hmm.
taste of it. And so I do believe that once Chandler passed on to the real reality,
Yeah,
it's not him that I need to be worried about anymore. So
I know. It's like that helps me too. Just like they're living the life, It's like, and that's really helpful to know that they're really, really happy,
yeah,
um, and literally seeing Jesus face to face, and the saints and relatives or whoever else you have up there that they love, their grandpa or whatever. Maybe their dog, we don't know.
yeah,
But yeah, so it's great. All right, Lisa. Right. Really, I'm gonna end this now. This is super helpful and um yeah, comforting, I think. We all have loss at some point in life,
yeah.
but yours is quite profound, and I appreciate your courage and bringing God into it. He brought himself into it, I should say, but you were willing to open your eyes to Immanuel. So I love that. Yeah. Thank you so much for being with us.
Thank you. I really appreciate it.
And as usual, I always recommend our guests to share this, especially with people who they know have gone through this or are going through this. I think I will share that to my sister-in-law. So yeah. All right. Take care, everybody. You'll have a great week and know that Emmanuel, God is with you.
Amen.